Hi guys, I'm Jen. I was tagged by Louise to do the IBD advocacy tag, so I thought I would do it by this because the poll that I done said that people would rather see it in a vlog rather than a blog. So this is the first time I've uploaded on YouTube in such a long time, and I'm really sorry. Life has definitely got in the way. I'm going to do a big health update soon, and I'll go into detail about everything that's been happening over the last year and a little bit, because I think the last time I spoke to you guys was before my proctectomy happened, and that was now a year ago. So yeah, I'll do a catch up on that soon. But today I'm going to do the IBD advocacy tag, and the first question that I'm going to answer is, what type of IBD do you have? Anyone that watched any of my videos previously knows that I have Crohn's disease. I've been diagnosed for 11 years last month, and yeah, I've pretty much grew up with it. I can't really imagine life without having IBD, and I probably wouldn't even change it either. So the next question is, why is IBD advocacy so important? And to me it's so important because back when I was diagnosed, there was never really anything done for like kids who had IBD. Like there was never really a way to get checked for it. Basically it took me about 6 months to get diagnosed, and by the time I actually was diagnosed, I was extremely malnourished and basically nearly died because of it. And when I was diagnosed, I was told that it's only an old person's disease, and I was one of the only people in Scotland who'd been diagnosed so young, but I was 13. And over the years now, I feel like with the awareness that's being raised, it's becoming more and more common that people are being diagnosed instead of misdiagnosed, which happened so much back in the day. Like I was told I had an iron deficiency, an eating disorder and everything. So I just feel like it's really important that people know like the signs and symptoms of what it could be, because sometimes your GP or your doctor hasn't dealt with someone who's had IBD before. That's certainly been the case with me, and I feel like it would be a massive step forward if people knew, like just off the top of their head, the symptoms of IBD, because it happens to so many people. There's literally thousands of us, and it seems to me that like the majority of people that I come across who have got the disease are young. So we're all like, probably from some kids I even know have been born with IBD, and basically between the age of being born and up to about 30, we seem to be the most prominent like number of people who've been diagnosed, which isn't something that you would ever expect. Like you just think when you're younger that you're going to be younger and you're going to be healthy, but that isn't always the case. And I feel like it's really important to raise as much awareness as possible, because it is so treatable, and like if you catch it early, you only have to take a tablet in some cases. Some cases it might be an injection or an infusion at the hospital, but basically anything that can be done is more effective the sooner it's diagnosed. So that's why I feel like it's really important to try and raise as much awareness as possible for people, so that if they think that they have symptoms, that they can be checked straight away, because that's so important. So the third question is to describe an embarrassing IBD experience, and I have thousands of those. Like I'm not exaggerating, I literally have thousands. Every day in my life is just awkward. Like I am an awkward person. I deal with things in a very awkward way, and yeah, I am just the most awkward person. But it doesn't help that I've got an illness that deals with poo quite a lot. So I'd say probably the most of my embarrassing stories happened before I got my ostomy, because that's kind of stopped embarrassing things happening a bit, apart from when it leaks. But even then, it's not really as embarrassing as before then. So basically the most embarrassing one that I can think of, and this is going to make everyone cringe, basically was when I was about 16, 17, our school had moved to be joined together with another school. So we had to go from getting the train home to getting the bus home. And because of where we live, there was only like 1 or 2 buses an hour. So if we didn't catch the bus, we would have to walk home, or we'd have a really long wait. So I didn't want to wait for the bus, and none of my friends did. And as soon as we got out of school, we were a bit late one day, and suddenly everyone started to run because the bus was coming. And I was like, I'm fine, I'll do it, I'll join in with everyone, I'm not walking home. So I ran. Very, very quickly, I had that uh-oh feeling. Like, anyone with IBD knows that feeling of when you've got to go, you've got to go. And I had that feeling times 1,000. I don't think it's ever been more prominent than it was that day, which was just kind of tragic, really. Because I kept running. I knew if I stopped, I'd have missed the bus, because the next bus stop was too far away for me to run to. And I'm actually surprised that I ran, because see, now I don't think I've been able to run for years. And I basically had to make the decision of stop now, shit myself and walk home, or keep running, shit myself and get on the bus. So I kept running and I pooped my pants, which is really awkward, because considering I got on the bus and people could smell it. Like, my friends could smell it. I didn't tell anyone what happened. I was mortified. I was on the verge of tears about the whole thing. So I got on the bus and people were saying like, oh, what's that smell? It smells so bad in this bus. Luckily, one of the other girls said, oh, don't worry, all buses smell like shit. So luckily for me, she covered it up really well and she didn't even know. No one to this day that I hung about with even knows this happened. And then suddenly everyone got their deodorant out and started spraying the place, which was so good for me because I covered myself just in deodorant. But I sat so tense on that bus home that by the time I got off the bus, my legs were shaking. And by the point, like, there's like a 2-minute walk from the bus stop to my house, and from that point it went from being in my pants to in my shoes. So I'm walking along, and with every squidgy footstep I'm sobbing more and more, because I got off the bus and said bye to my friends, and luckily no one was coming home with me that day. So I walked along the road sobbing. People are out walking their dogs looking at me like, what's wrong with that girl? Like, she's not right. There's something weird going on here. And I walked to my front door, opened it, slammed the door behind me. My mum was upstairs and I shouted out, Mum, I've shit myself, and burst into tears. Like, fully sobbing, ugly crying, Kim Kardashian crying. Like, there was nothing I could do about it. I told my mum and my mum couldn't stop laughing. So then the next day my aunties came over because it's like they have like a night on a Thursday where they all have cups of tea and sit and gossip in the living room. And I went downstairs and they all said, how are you feeling today? Have you got over shitting yourself yesterday? And I started crying again because I was like, I don't want you to remind me of this. Like, why did you tell anyone, Mum? Why did you do this? And they were all literally peeing themselves with laughter. So yeah, that was my most awkward and embarrassing story with IBD. And I'm so glad that that can't possibly happen again, because I don't have a rectum, don't have a large intestine. So whenever that happens, it just goes in my bag, which makes life a lot better. Moving swiftly on, the next question is, what is a stigma that you commonly come across? And mine is, you can't possibly be disabled because you look too well. You do your makeup, you do your hair, and you dress up. Like, you don't look sick. But people don't realise that I put on a front in front of pretty much 99% of people. The only people I really let it down for is like my immediate family. Because I don't like to be perceived as someone who can't do things. When I know my own limits, I know that there are things I can't do or things that will be really hard for me. So I tend to compensate for being sick by making myself look as well as I can. Apart from today, because I've had a long day and my makeup's now falling off a bit, which is a bit awkward, but it's fine. I mean, it's all about honesty here. So yeah, I feel like a lot of people judge me. Like, now I'm at a stage with like my wound and things that my wound opened up after getting surgery on like 3 pilonidal sinuses that I had, but that surgery had to remove the area of like scar and things from my proctectomy. So now where my bumhole was, there is like not enough skin to keep it together. So that means that every time I move or walk or get up or down from sitting down, it's really, really painful. It also means that because of like where it is, it's a really high risk of infection, and because I've spent the last probably 4 months-ish on bed rest, I now find it really difficult to walk anywhere, and I have a blue badge. So that means that if I'm at shops or things, I normally can't really go in for long, so I can park right outside, go in, get what I'm getting and come right back out again, which is a massive help for me. But the amount of times that I've been kind of picked on for looking like I'm not disabled enough, which is the craziest thing to me, because how does someone look disabled? Not everyone who's disabled is in a wheelchair. Like, that just seems so weird to me. But yeah, I've had multiple parking attendants in Glasgow City Council, which I'm calling them out because I think that it's ridiculous, who have basically said, get out your car and show me your blue badge. So I've had to get out my car, take my blue badge out and prove to them that I'm sick. And they question me on it, like, why have you got this? And I don't feel like it's anyone's business. I think that I should be able to tell people if I want to, and everyone else should just take it as face value that I'm sick, because it's true. I don't feel why, like, I have to make myself look even worse and make myself feel even worse. So I don't understand their way of thinking. Like, why would you want someone who is sick to not feel better about themselves in a way? So yeah, that is basically my main thing. Like, people just think that I'm too well to be disabled and that I just use disabled toilets to be lazy, when really it's because if I have a bag change to do, it's almost impossible to do that in a sanitary way in a single person cubicle in a toilet. At least in a disabled toilet, they at least have like the little baby changing areas where I can put everything that I need. You don't have anything like that in a normal like toilet. So I feel like if people weren't as judgmental about me being sick and just took it as face value, because you never know what someone's got underneath their clothes or what someone's dealing with. So I just really, really wish that that was something that wasn't there anymore, because I kind of deal with it on a daily basis anyway. And now we're on to the last question, which is, what do you want other people to know about IBD? Basically the thing that I want people to know is that it isn't just a pooing disease. It isn't something that is just related to going to the toilet. Like, basically with Crohn's disease, inflammation starts in your large intestine or small intestine, but it can be anywhere from head to toe. I have had inflammation before, which has caused me to be malnourished, and I've lost my hair. So I was almost completely bald 4 years ago. My hair was so thin that you could see my scalp. I had to get a very, very short bob to try and grow it out, and it's only now that my hair has got to an acceptable length where I don't feel like I need extensions anymore. I also have had abscesses occur at the top of my legs and at my groin, which is not an attractive thing at all, but that's other skin manifestations of Crohn's. I've also had, like, my wounds not healing, so whenever I've had a surgery, every time I get one, my wounds open up because I don't heal well. My immune system is a disaster zone, so right now I have blood in my urine, a kidney infection, infection of like my reproductive system, which is a weird one. We're still going through testing for all that, but all we know is I'm on antibiotics. I have cyclitic vomiting, which means I throw up randomly. It can happen any time, and I basically just throw up. That's what happens, and I can't do anything to stop it. The only thing that does really stop it is an anti-sickness injection. The tablets don't really work. And I can go a few weeks at a time without that happening, but when it does happen, it's like 24 hours of solidly throwing up all the time. I've also got the beginnings of like osteoporosis in my bones. My bones are a lot weaker than they should be for someone of my age, because I'm only nearly 25. So my bones are a lot weaker than they should be. Like, it basically has taken over every aspect of my life, and I want people to know that it's a serious thing. It's more serious than IBS because it's not irritable bowel syndrome that we have inflammatory bowel disease. So in IBS, they don't have the inflammation markers that we do. So they'll have like sore stomachs, but that doesn't mean that there's something really sinister going on inside. Whereas for someone like me, a lot of sore stomachs normally indicates inflammation, and if there's too much inflammation, it can lead to strictures, which is narrowings, where your intestine can go from this size to like that size, and it can eventually cause your intestines to rupture because they're so thin after years and years of scarring. And that's what happened to me during my colectomy surgery to remove my large intestine. Basically, all my large intestines like fell apart inside me. So my surgeon had to do his best to try and get it all out of me, and it led to sepsis because obviously these things happen if your intestines leak inside you. So I'm incredibly lucky to be alive. There's been multiple occasions where I've been told if this doesn't work, this is probably it and you won't make it. So it's not really just as simple as you can't eat spicy food or you'll shit yourself. It's a lot more serious than that. It can take over your life, especially if you've got a severe case of it like myself. And I really just wish people were more aware of it and a bit more accommodating, because as much as the awareness that we've done just now is incredible, like everyone that's raising awareness is amazing, there's also just not enough done in terms of like there's not enough done for people to accept it yet, and that's what I find the hardest part. Like, I feel like we're coming so far from where we were, but there's still so much further to go, because the most common misconception that I hear about all the time is, oh, I know exactly how you feel, you've got IBD, I've got IBS, and that's not really true. So I feel like just more and more awareness raised will just make such a big difference over the years. And finally, I just want to say thanks very much for watching this video. If you could give it a like and a thumbs up, that would be really greatly appreciated. I promise that I will do other videos where I'm not just sitting on my bum. Well, actually, I can't guarantee that. I probably will be sitting down. But I do have a number of videos planned. I'm going to be doing a health update in the next couple of days, and I hope that anyone who's watching this has enjoyed it. If anyone has any questions or anything, like, my inbox is always open. You can find me on YouTube, on Instagram, Twitter and Facebook, all under Crohnie Clothing. And yeah, I have basically done all I need to do now, and I'll see you guys soon. Thanks so much for putting up with this 1.5 year long hiatus. I promise that it's over now, and I have a lot planned for this channel. I really hope to grow it. I hope to be part of like this wider community of people with chronic illnesses. And yeah, I feel very lucky to be in such an amazing community. And also I'm really grateful to everyone who's supported me this far on my journey. It's been a long 11 years, but we're getting somewhere finally. And yeah, so bye guys, I hope you have a good day.